everybody. My name is Adam Moss, aka Road Geek Adam on RiverAvenueBlues.com. I am a guest writer for the site, specializing in their history. But as many people know, I am a specialty on umpires as well. And in every series, or as much as I try to, provide an umpire review of the 4 umpires in that series. This week, I'm going to start a new way of doing that, and I'm going to film it. It's not always going to be here. Next time, it'll be at my parents' place and outdoors. So, I want you to try this new system because rather than reading whole blocks of text and not really caring, you will get to see me actually reading this stuff to you. So, I want you to... It's kind of ironic that today is the first time I'm doing these umpire reviews because, of course, yesterday's game between the Texas Rangers and the Toronto Blue Jays had an enormous 8 ejections under Dale Scott's crew. Thankfully, we don't have them today. We start today off with CB Bucknor, or as I prefer to call him, Bonehead, number 54. He has umpired in 5 games thus far, and he's usually a reputation for being a complete jackass. Amazingly, he is Jamaican, but he actually does not have an accent, at least that I can decipher. He has a 3.99 ERA, which is 47th of 86 umpires that have debuted in this league. He has a WHIP of 1.24, a hits per 9 innings of 8.6, a walks per 9 innings of 2.6, a strikeout per 9 average of 8.7, which means about a strikeout per inning or a little less. And the batters have a 253, 310, 389 batting line, which is mediocre at best. But, of course, you know I'm going to talk about his right arm and ejecting people, which, what else would I be doing this for? Because he somehow, since his debut on April 4th, 1996, was trying for the idea of 34 ejections. Only one is of a Yankee, which was Gary Sheffield on June 25th, 2005, for slamming his helmet in front of him for calling up for a called strike 3 that went against Sheffield. Somehow, I don't know how he has only 34 ejections, but if you remember CB Bucknor, you probably remember his strike 3 call, which is strike 3. Or you'll remember him for doing this on strike 2 in 2012 while Adam Warren was pitching and Chris Stewart was catching, because it was in the 11th inning when he's so tired, he's clearly suffering from the heat in Oakland, and he goes strike 3 on strike 2, and you see Chris Stewart go like, what? So, CP Bucknor will be leading off tonight, and I'm only expecting a disaster. Our first base umpire for tonight's game, who will be home playing tomorrow night's game, is the crew chief, Fieldin Culbreath, number 25. He is humorously Fieldin H. Culbreath III, and he has a son, of course, because we have to continue the family line, Fieldin H. Culbreath IV. He has umpired in 6 games this year, which means his crew has been to the bunker in Chelsea quite a bit. He, as an umpire, has a 4.01 ERA, which is 46th of 86, the one right above CB Bucknor. He has a WHIP of 1.18, again, a pretty mediocre number, leaning towards the pitcher as much as the 4.01 is leaning towards the hitter. The hits per 9 innings is 8.2, and the walks per 9 innings are 2.4, which are pretty mediocre numbers, but the staggering one is his strikeouts per 9 innings, because he has a staggering 7.0, because that reeks of a hitter's umpire if you're striking out only 7 every 9 innings on average. Batters have a line of 243, 298, 391. Now what's odd about that line is it tells you he has been umpiring games where there's been big home run bats. Now, unlike Bucknor, who I have very little respect for, Fieldin Culbreath is one of the nicest men in the league, and trust me, from reviewing of him, players love him. And even though he's been in the league since 1993 at a game at the Kingdome, God knows how many people wanted to not play at that place, he has only 40 ejections, 2 of which are of Yankees. And both of them, interestingly enough, occurred against the Blue Jays. The first one on May 23rd, 2003 was Jorge Posada getting the right hook because of an interference call. The Yankees went on to lose that game 2-1. The second one was Randy Johnson. Of course, on September 19th, 2005, what could be considered a barn burner, all the way to the end, the Yankees ended up winning 11-10 over the Jays, in which John Flaherty had a double and a home run. Randy Johnson got himself ejected for arguing balls and strikes, which, as you know, is a no-no, even in this day and age with replay. But, of course, I have high respect for Bucknor and would expect nothing but respect from you guys as well towards him, even if you don't agree with his calls. Second base umpire tonight, first base tomorrow, and home plate umpire for Wednesday is the very lackluster number 92, Jim Reynolds. I keep saying lackluster because there's nothing really big to say about him. I mean, in 6 games this year, he's a pitcher's umpire by scouting reports, but none of his numbers really match scouting reports. They're either mediocre or very off. So, for example, he's 55th in ERA with a rate of 3.8. Normally, 3.8 is very high for a pitcher's umpire, but his whip of 1.39 is very hitter umpire, because unless he's been in a ton of barn burners lately, usually a pitcher's umpire is in the low 110s or 120s, and low 120s at that. But his other statistics back up this weird problem. I mean, he's got a hit per 9 innings rate of 9.2, which means more than a hit per inning, which either means, again, he's been in barn burners or he has been giving people bases. Another thing, his walk rate is absurd for a pitcher's umpire, because 3.4 walks per 9 is insane. That should be a hitter's umpire from day one number. And to make things even stranger, his K per 9 rate, 7.7 isn't bad, but to say it's perfect for a pitcher's umpire would be silly, so it's more like mediocre. It just doesn't fit the style. So either A, the scouting reports have been all wrong, or B, he's changed. And I'm not going to lean towards either until I see him in action on Wednesday. His batters with him have a 264, 330, and 433 line. The middle of which is pretty mediocre, but the latter two were definitely high for a pitcher's umpire, because you wouldn't expect the OBP to be so high. You'd expect the OBP in like the 290s, maybe 280s, maybe sometimes getting around 300, but 330 is definitely high. Now, since his debut in 2000 as one of the replacement umpires for the 25 that Mass resigned in 2000 for a failed union attempt to get MLB to pay them more, he was hired as part of that group, and they still roam this league like crazy. He has never ejected a Yankee or a Met. So I don't really have any good stories of juicy Yankee stories with him, because there's nothing a whole lot to say about him otherwise. Our final umpire for tonight, it may not be him this entire series, is the rookie Nik Lentz, who I have talked about in the past this season, who is a rookie, and I mean rookie, Nik Lentz. He is only been in 4 games as a home plate umpire, and so far, there's not a whole lot to complain about him. I mean, he's been pretty mediocre in everything other than his ERA, which is absurdly high, at 4.39, which is 30th out of the 86 umpires. Some of this may be contributable to a small sample size, and I'm willing to give him a break because obviously he's new. He's definitely very young. He's 26 years old, which is young by the standards of the International League, where he also works, where the average age is 31, 32, 33, even for the call-up umpires that replace the regular people. His whip is 1.19, mediocre, a little low, probably leaning towards pitcher. Hitters, hits per 9 rather, 8.7 per 9 innings. Walks, 2.1 per 9 innings. Strikeouts, 7.5 per 9. All of these are very mediocre numbers. There's not, I mean, again, I'm not going to go too much into him because he's 26. I mean, that's not really fair on my part either. I'm 25. He's doing something I wish I could do. Batters have a line of 254, 302, and 413. Also very mediocre line all across. I don't have a whole lot to say about him because rookie. So either he'll be here the entire series, he's not going behind the plate anyway, or Manny Gonzalez, number 79, will be back before his... On that note, I sincerely hope you enjoy the game. I am sorry that this is only my first try, and as you can tell, I am not the most eloquent speaker in the world. I will continue to improve these as I continue to do them, if I choose to continue to do them. But again, enjoy the game, and oh yeah, go Yanks! Jim Reynolds segment. Jim Reynolds wears 77, not 92, which is James Hoy. I tend to mix these two up quite a bit, and I sincerely apologize.